So I want to go ahead and turn the mic over to Josh Shinn. Josh, I'm really, really proud of you, man. You are, to me, what inspires me to do what I do. You know, I love seeing new guys come aboard the team. You've only been with us, I think it's seven months now, and you've really taken hold of what we're about. You and I met years ago at one of my boot camps and recruiting sessions in New Jersey, and you took a leap of faith. This past year, joined our team, and you've taken it to a whole nother level. And I'm just really honored to have you part of our family, Josh. And I mean, you think you've done great, and you haven't seen nothing yet. I think this next year is going to be unbelievable for you. And I have no doubt you keep following what I'm teaching. Okay. Let me coach you, because I love coaching. And I've told everyone on this call, I'll coach you if you're ready to be coached. There's an old Asian, I guess, statement that says the sensei is able to teach once the student is ready to be taught. You know, I can do only all I can do if I got someone to work with that's willing to take hold of it and latch on to the coaching. It's really sky's the limit. And Josh, you've done that. You've done everything I asked you to do, and then some. And we appreciate it because the results speak for themselves. Next slide, Michael. So I just want to show off a little bit what Josh has accomplished, and it's just pretty impressive. And got a brand new sports car, so great job. You got that BMW. I thought it was a Lambo, but it's a BMW. It's pretty impressive, and you got it. It's a BWI i8 wrapped in orange, so it's pretty impressive. And that's Josh with him and his dog. And then he went out this week. He went and got his office, got a new office in a building which has over 300 seniors that are members of the Sons of Italy. He's written out the top floor of that, which I thought was impressive. You talk about someone that takes action. He took action last week and signed a lease on his new office. And then he got a virtual assistant, you know, and she's excellent at what she does, makes his life easier. I'm going to tell you guys now, if you're in this business and you're all in, you need to have a personal assistant. And if you're a G and MJ don't have one, shame on you. You're making your life tougher it needs to be. And if you're a producer and you're doing at least 50 apps or more, you need a personal assistant to help you do your job. Delegate the $15, $20 an hour work to someone else. You need to spend more time on the $500 to $1,000 work. So I wanted to just tout Josh's success. He's written over 250 apps, Michael, in that time period, 250 apps with her?
Yes.
In 7 months? Okay. Awesome stuff. And now he's building a team. He's got a handful of guys that are getting started. One of his guys did some retraining with him and went out and sold right away. It's amazing what training can do with people that have the right attitude, the right work ethic, and are willing to be coached. So, Josh, hats off to you, man. I'm proud of your recent accomplishments, new office, new car, personal assistant, new team is starting to sprout. You know, you become a GA in record time, and it's going to be no time. You'll be an MG, SG, and mark my words, sooner than you think you're going to be an IMO as well and a partner with Integrity Marketing Group. So, Josh, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, Tony, for the intro.
You're awesome, man.
Cool.
You're awesome. Really are. And as I said before I kicked off introducing, you're exactly the type of guy, individual I want to work with, that is serious about this business and willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. You've already seen the results of your hard work. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to you. Joshua was with me in Denver to witness firsthand the Joshua Young's bootcamp training. And I asked if Joshua Shinn would share some highlights from what he learned to pay it forward to you guys from the bootcamp training this past week. Mike, over to you, Josh.
Yeah, well, number one, can everybody hear me okay? I'm still adjusting this mic. My audio good?
Yes.
All right, cool. So the first thing I want to say is we were there for 16 hours of actual training, plus we spent hours outside of training with him. Me and Josh had a podcast out there. For me to break down probably 20 plus hours worth of training into 30 minutes It's a hard thing to do. So I wanted to start it off with that. Is I'm giving kind of the highlight reel of it, but I'm not going super in depth. I'm going to go more high level on this, just because I can't break all that down. And I think everyone should go out and see Joshua Young's or take some of his online training. I think he really gets into a lot of the, like the details of everything, where it's just not possible on a 30-minute highlight reel. But I want to go over kind of the main point that I took from Joshua Young's. And this was actually, I put a quote on the slide. I don't know if we have my slides or not on this slide deck. There we go. So this was something that Joshua Young said. It was just kind of, I tried him for my notes because he sent us the slides after the fact. I tried to write down everything that he said that wasn't on the slides. And one of the things that he said that really stuck out to me, as soon as I wrote it down, I put a star next to it, because I thought it was just such a golden quote, is what he said. And he said, anyone can nickel and dime their way to an above average agent. So what I put in my slides and what I'm going to go over, it's all stuff that we've heard before. So it's all things that you've heard before. The real question is, are you doing these things? Are you doing them all together? And then are you doing all of these things on a consistent basis? Because that really stuck out to me as somebody who's been doing Medicare for 5+ years now. All of the things that he mentioned are things that I did to come up originally. I nickel and dime my way, if you want to call it that, to an above average agent. I nickel and dime my way to United Healthcare's top agent. My first year, 6 months into the year, I started around June was when I really got serious. I got contracted in April, got serious in June, and literally nickel and dime my way to where I was at. I just got a call from an agent manager that year, and she said, did you know that you're our top agent for SEP this year? And I said, wow, that's crazy. But when I started out, it was the nickel and dime approach. It was, hey, Michelle's the agent, one of the agent managers here in New Jersey. What can I be doing to generate business? And it's, oh, you can do food pantries. Oh, well, when you sign someone up, you should send them a birthday card. It's all those little things that you do consistently all together, and that adds up to a big amount of business, and that adds up to referrals. And I think as getting comfortable, getting bigger, that's a big thing that I took away from Joshua Young's training. It's all those little things that I was doing that I got comfortable, and I'm really not doing everything all in conjunction and doing it consistently. And that's a big, I guess, point to Joshua Young's training. He's very consistent. One of the things can you go to the next slide, Michael? So this is kind of my points and my slides that I want to go through. But the first one I want to go through is breaking down your goals, because it doesn't come down to, I'm such a great salesman, or Joshua Young's obviously he's a great salesman. I'm a great salesman, but it comes down to your goal, and it comes down to breaking down that goal, and it comes down to being consistent. Because if we go to the next slide, it talks about, one of the things Joshua Young's does in all of his trainings, I've done 2 with him so far, plus 2 virtuals. So every single training he does, he breaks down your goals, and it doesn't really seem like that big of a task. It's just consistency once you break down your goals. So personally, my goals are right here. He has a separate way that he breaks down his goals for AEP, which maybe we can do that another time. But basically, I want to do 400 MA apps for the year, 250 during AEP. That leaves me with 150 for the other 9 months of the year. If you break that down, it's 16.6 a month, it's 4.16 per week, and it's 0.83 per day. It's not even 1 a day. Everybody can do 1 a day. I think everybody can do 1 a day. If you implement all the little things, everyone can do 1 a day. Jamie, what's your goal for the year?
Like I said, I'm 1 a day right now.
1 a day, but what's at the end of the year, let's say up to AEP, what do you want to have as far as the apps that you have? What do you want to have? Jimmy's a brand new agent, started the last 2 weeks AEP, basically did 5 his last week of AEP, and then now he's got what do you got so far this year, Jimmy? About 5 since January 1st.
Starting the year, yeah, I think it's like 5,
so
6.
When we get to October 15th or October 1st, what do you want your book of business to be at?
What's one a day work out to be at that point?
Well, we want to work back to one a day, right? Because if you do one a day, look at this, right? So, and I did a 5-day work week. I'm not working weekends generally, but one a day is going to put you past my 150, right? But what did we say? We want to be at 100 by AEP, right? We want to have 100 book of business.
Okay.
So that way when you get to next January, you have a nice cushion with your renewals coming in. But all I wanted to do is I wanted to get an example from someone so we can work back their goal and figure out, what they need to be doing every day. So if Jimmy's goal is 100 for the rest of SCP OEP for the year, we're almost in February. So we basically have 8 months until AEP at that point. So we'll take 100 apps and we'll divide that by 8 months. So now we have 12.5 a month. Now divide that by 4 weeks in the month, 3.125 per week. Divide that by 5 is 0.62 per day. So it's not even one a day. I think I'm sure people have done this exercise before. I just think it's good for everyone who's listening. Everybody should break down their goal because when I broke down my goal, I said, okay, I'm going to do 150 during AEP or during OEP and SEP, and then another 250 during AEP. When I broke that down, I was like, oh wow, that's not even one per day that I need to do to hit 150 during OEP. I probably need to bump my goal up because realistically I can do more than one a day. It's just consistency, and Jimmy was saying, if you do one every single day, you're going to far surpass your goals. It's just the consistency of it. And I think that's one of the things I took away for AEP when I took the AEP Bootcamp with Josh Youngs was it really was about consistency, because I always look at leaderboard, and I'm happy I came over to Global because we have a more competitive leaderboard here, but just do one more a day during AEP, and wow, that's an extra 50 apps for AEP. And that was something that stuck in my head, was just the consistency of it. One more per day it adds up to a lot. So I think it's important that everybody should just sit down and just break down their goals and just work backwards to what they actually need to do down to the per day, the per day goal and what that actually adds up to. Because just to see it on paper, what that adds up to, I think for me, it's a big motivator, because you may not feel like picking up the phone today. You may not feel like making an appointment today. You may not feel like going out to that food pantry or doing whatever it is that you do to drive business. But every day that you don't feel like it adds up to a negative on this goal. And rather than every day when you just do it, it's going to add to a positive. At the end of the year, you're going to see a lot more results. So it's really simple. And I'm sure people have told you to do this before and everything, but I think just doing it, I think everyone should do it and write it down on paper. And I don't mean to harp on this too long. We probably go to the next slide, Michael, but I just think it's important to harp on your, to break down your goals and everything. So the next thing that Joshua Youngs is really big on is the service aspect of the business. This is another area which was kind of a light bulb moment, which it seems pretty straightforward. But one of the things he said was that your referrals, they're not driven by the product that you sold them. They're driven by the service that you provide after the sale. And so that's kind of a light bulb moment. Maybe I should have thought of this earlier, but it's true. I'm always, my referral or my thinking when it comes to referrals is it's because of the product I sold them and they're happy with the product. And it's not. My referrals come from the fact that when you call me, I answer and I fix whatever problem you have, because that doesn't happen on the carrier side of things. We all know that for the most part, the carrier customer service is not great. And one of the things I realized with Josh Young, because he's really created a much better customer service experience than the carrier provides. So he has 3 people working in his office that basically do member service for all of his clients. And rather than a customer calling the member service. They're calling his office, and his office is almost a middleman between the member and the member service. So if you call him with an issue, they're going to either resolve it on the phone, or they're going to call you back from his office and say, look, we got it resolved with the carrier, or we need you to come on the line to do whatever with the carrier, but we've already waited for that 20-30 minute hold that you're normally dealing with the carrier, and we got you right in. So he's really done a good job at creating a really good customer service experience for his members, and that's somewhere personally I need to improve, and I need to have someone full-time doing customer service. I have my assistant, but I need someone in the US based to drive some of this customer service and just create a better customer service experience for each one of my members. Does anyone here have like a larger book of business, like 500 plus MA members there?
Okay, I have that.
Okay, so I wanted to get somebody else because I'm personally in the same spot. So as far as birthday cards, holiday cards, all of that, Lynn, are you doing that type of stuff for each one of your members?
Yes, but not as consistently.
Okay, because that's kind of the point that I wanted to make was in the beginning when I had a smaller book, that was something I did was everybody got a birthday card, everybody got a holiday card for this, everybody got that. I still send out Christmas cards, but that's selfishly, I send out Christmas cards the week before Thanksgiving, hoping that somebody, sends me a referral from the Thanksgiving dinner table. It's a selfish motivation. As my book kind of grew, I stopped doing those little things. Like I stopped doing birthday cards. I stopped doing more personalization. But that's something that Joshua Youngs didn't let slide in his business. When his business got too big for him to handle more of that personal touch, well, he hired somebody to do that personal touch for him. But it's all these little things, all these little touches that you can do through the year, providing good customer service, plus providing things like birthday cards, holiday cards. He does quarterly calls with all of his clients, and it's not him having to do a lot of the quarterly calls. It's his office doing a lot of the quarterly calls. The auto emails, everyone gets an email newsletter from him. That's all automated at this point. But it's those touch points, it's those service, it's making the customer feel like you care about them. That's driving his referrals. It's everything that he does after the sale that's driving so many referrals to him where he can't shut off the referral machine. It's not the product that you're selling them. And so that was one of the light bulb moments that I had from this whole thing, was that really he's driving a lot of the referrals from the service side. So I think that's really key. And I think everyone has areas where they can improve in that. I know I can improve as far as making sure that I'm touching my book of business more often, making sure that we're doing touches throughout the year, and we're doing cards and mail and email and everything else. So I think that was one of my key takeaways is we really need to build the back end business and the service side in addition to the sales side of it. So we can go to the next slide. The next thing is about Grassroots, and he talks about creating referral partners. So I think most of us in this Medicare space, we already do some kind of Grassroots marketing. I do a lot of food pantries. I do senior buildings. I do a lot of this Grassroots model in addition to face-to-face model and telesales. I'm kind of hybrid. I do everything. But one of the things that I took away from him that's different is instead of making it a sales event model, he's more of a community resource he's more of a community resource model. And what that is he's trying to solve problems and be a resource to every place that he goes in, rather than going to a doctor's office and saying, hey, can I set a booth up here? Or, food pantry, hey, can I set a booth up here? Or anything else. He's really becoming a community resource to these people rather than a salesperson. He's creating more value, and he's locking these places down a lot harder than we're locking them down. One of the things that he said in his training is you should be really worried if you go to a senior building and ask if you can, you're a Medicare agent, and ask if you can start doing booths and events and everything. And they're just like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Come on in. Because the issue is they say that to everybody who goes in there. He talks about trying to find what the problem is for wherever you're going into. So like a doctor's office, for example, their issue may be that they don't have enough patients and they're trying to grow their book of patients, and you can help them by referring people over to them and try to help them get more business that way. But their problem might not be that. Their problem might be that they're having an issue with a particular carrier, and they're having an issue with claims, or they're having an issue with benefits for a lot of their patients in that office. And so where he comes in at with a lot of these community events is, rather than go in trying to let me set a booth up here, it's what is your problem and how can I help? So if it's a claim issue or benefits issue with patients at a doctor's office, well, send those to me and I'll get them resolved for you, because we all have, or most of us should have, better connections with carriers to get things solved than the doctor's office has, and we can help them with that. Hey, now you're their go-to Medicare person. Or one of the things he mentioned with the senior buildings was, since COVID hit, a lot of these activity directors are very, overwhelmed with everything they're doing, and they're not doing a whole lot of events. And rather than trying to come in and make some sales event, why don't you just hold a monthly birthday party for everyone in that senior building and just try to get your name out there and let people know you're in the community and you're helping fix the issues, rather than let me go set up a sales booth somewhere. But I really like what he's doing with that, because the more of these spinning plates he gets is more areas that he gets, where he's just, they know what he does. It's just referral sources. So I just, when we're going into things, I think we need to shift it a little bit from our goal being, let's set the booth up, to let me solve some of these people's issues, and then be in there as that you need to talk to this guy. Oh, you're having a Medicare issue? Well, you need to talk to this guy. He fixed everything for us, or he fixed everything for this person or that person. So that's one of the big things that I took away. Is I've always been, my Grassroots model is, even you go down to my script that I give to people to open up food pantry. That's, hey, this is what we do. Can we set a booth up? And I think we need to shift a little bit more to, hey, this is what I can do. What can I help with? That type of thing. So that was another big kind of shift I had this last week, was he calls them referral partners, and you're helping them and they're helping you. And it's more, I think we can open up a lot more doors and we can provide a lot more value. That's one reason why I'm very excited to move into this. Our first office is going to be at the Sons of Italy Lodge. And if I hadn't gone out to Colorado and I went and found this office, I would have screwed it up. Having that as my office, because I would have gone in as Mr. Medicare salesman like I do at every event, and I would have blown everybody out of the water, and it would have turned everybody off for me. So what we're doing with that location is we're upstairs. There's no reason for us to constantly be selling people. We just need to have people know that we're right upstairs. So we're taking more of a model with that location of, we're going to provide events, we're going to provide things for the community, but we're not selling at those events. Hey, we're upstairs. So that's the idea with that location specifically. And one of the things that they had mentioned to me, and it's kind of sad, but why they're renting out that top portion is really they're struggling to keep that lodge open financially. So I know their pain point, and I'm going to try to help them out in every way I can to boost their membership. Was one thing that they were talking about. They want younger faces in there, which I'm a younger face. We'll get all my friends. We're all going to be members of the Sons of Italy Lodge, but finding out what their issue is and trying to help them out. And that's my goal at that location. Is we're going to try to better that location. And when AEP comes, we're upstairs, and they know that. So I think that's pretty much as I can harp on Grassroots. So that's how my perspective shifted over the last week when it comes to Grassroots. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, and then the next thing that he talks about is the T65 funnel. So number one, with integrity, we have access to T65.app. It's a website. You can go right to that website and we can all get free T65 lists. There's like a map function on there where basically you can see everybody turning 65 in your area. You can expand the map. You can get a list, all that. And he talked about this kind of on two different fronts. So he talked about this as maybe the brand new agent that's trying to bootstrap things and doesn't have a whole lot of funds to get started. And he also talked about it on more of the, I guess, the advanced level where you do have some money to throw at this. But one of the things, and there's a whole, I mean, he spent half a day doing T65. So I can't really boil that down into whatever one slide on here. But one of the things he mentioned for, let's say you're a new agent, you have zero funds or hardly anything, you have enough to do 20 handwritten birthday cards every week. So you go on T65.app, you get the free T65 list, and 20 birthday cards a week is $10. Okay. So he does handwritten birthday cards. He sends them out to, this is what he used to do when he was first getting started. He doesn't really do this side of things too much, but he does it with new agents is what he has them do. And 20 handwritten birthday cards a week, couple months before their 65th birthday. Hey, my name is Josh. I'm a Medicare agent, and I just want to be the first one to wish you a happy 65th birthday. Shove as much material as you can into that birthday card, and hey, you're there. But 20 cards a week turns into 80 cards a month. And I mean, you don't think one person is going to call you off of your birthday cards, and you're not going to get one application off of 80 birthday cards a month. I think you're going to get more than one application a month off of 80 birthday cards going out that are handwritten, that are a little bit more personal, that just let them know that you're there. And that's one of the things that he did when he started, and he has a lot of the new agents do, is they send out these handwritten birthday cards. So I think that's a really cool idea. The next thing he does is the T65 goodie bag. So he said he always has these ready to go in his car, and they're basically bags. They have some of the carrier giveaways. They have some of his own personal branded giveaways. They have information about Medicare, about how it works. Just things that when you're turning 65, information that maybe could help you learn and help you, help you get acclimated to Medicare. Now, he said he knocks on people's doors, drops them off at their door. But he just tries to get as many of these T65 goodie bags out to people in the community as possible. And I'm sure that comes back to him. So I'm sure just the more activity we can do in this market really goes back to him. Now, he goes really deep into like some of the material that he gives out. He has QR codes that go to a landing page that advertises T65 seminars, which is the next thing. As he's doing these T65 seminars, and they're educational seminars, but he's consistently doing them. I think that's one of the things with Joshua Youngs that I saw, is he's just very consistent in what he does. Like everything that he does, and this goes back to the whole nickel and dime thing. It's like we've done, for me personally, there's certain times where I focused a ton on, let me get a bunch of food pantries and this, or now I'm going to focus on T65, and now I'm going to focus on this and that, and small little things. And they give you small pieces of business. I think one of the things that a lot of us don't think about is, what if 2 applications here and 2 applications here and 2 applications here, and you do all these things in conjunction and you keep them going consistently, so the funnel's always there, that eventually that's going to come back and that's going to turn into a large amount of business. So with the T65 seminars, he said he runs them 1 week. He picks out a couple areas that he's trying to target, and he runs them 1 week every month, and he'll do a seminar every day for 1 week out of the month. And he does them based on the birthday months. And so basically by month, he said he goes about 9 to 15 months out. So by month number 9, when everybody's turning 65, he's got a full funnel going. But he keeps this going because one of the things that I kind of realized listening to him was, a lot of these things I've done, I just haven't followed up and consistently done and not stopped. So one of the things that I realized was a lot of the things when I started, I'd say, what can I do to generate business? And I'd ask everybody, what can I generate? I'd do this little tip for a little bit. I do that for a little bit. And just the past week, I'm thinking, wow, what if I had done all those things that generated me business to start out and generated me business when I started? What if I had just kept on? I know it was only 2 apps here and 2 apps there and a couple apps here. What if I had just continued to do all those things and not stopped because, oh, now my phone rings and I don't need to do that anymore? It's like, no, I should have just been doing that, continue to do that. And I can't imagine how much more my phone would ring if I didn't just, for the last year or two, just rely on my phone rings from referrals from my customers. It's doing those consistent things and keeping doing them even when the business is rolling and good it's why he's getting so much business. Is he doesn't stop.
Thank you so much for going back for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is so the reason I like the Joshua Young's training is a lot of what I just did is a very like quick go through. This is what his training is about. The thing I like about his training is it's a really deep dive into everything you need to be doing in every aspect of the business. Like one of the things when I've never had really any real training, just kind of looking back on my own career, I've never really had any of my own training. It was, hey, you should try this and hey, you should try that, and figuring out kind of what works. And one of the things I really liked about his training is it was just you were there and it was basically a how-to on everything that everyone's ever told you that you should be doing to generate business on Medicare, and it was a deep dive on how to do it. So I still think it's really important, even this is a high level, and I think it's important to kind of have that deep dive. I don't see how it's not what he's charging right now, how it's not worth the money to do that. But that's kind of my 2 cents. But does anybody else have any other questions on there? So if someone is on T65, we can send mailers to them and drop goodie bags at the door. Yeah, that's what Joshua Youngs does. I think that's a cool idea, especially if you're newer in the business, and why not? You probably have an hour or two a day. You can go drop goodie bag. You can make goodie bags up and go drop them off at people's doors. Oh, the T65, by the way. So I haven't actually done like a huge deep dive on this, but according to Joshua Youngs, these are completely free for us working under integrity.
Josh, those are those T65 basic Medicare supplement leads, so you can really reach out to those people and see you in compliance.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Those T65 leads are really Medicare supplement leads for people looking for final expense, so you can use those and stay in compliance because they don't fall under the Medicare Advantage guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things that he touched on, was that's why T65 is so great, because as long as it's general Medicare info, there's not as much compliance rules when it comes to marketing to these T65s. That's why you are able to go knock on the door and drop a goodie bag off. Now, he's not Mr. Salesman when he drops it off. It's, hey, I just wanted to give you this bag, and I'm a Medicare person. I just wanted to give you this bag. It has some information on it and has everything that they need to do to contact him. He has everything put together really well in an educational format where it teaches a lot to the client, but it also, he leaves some where he's still necessary in that whole equation in helping them out. So that's a really good point, because the compliance is there's not as many compliance hoops to go through on that.
Hi, Joshua. It's Willie Mae Alexander. I just wanted to tell you it was a great presentation. And I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on that, setting your goals, setting your numbers for the year. And I know when you had scaled everything down to the day, and you had indicated that working 5 days, you didn't include the whole 7 days.
Right.
But the wonderful thing about that is that if you didn't make your goal within the first 5 days, you had those other 2 days for makeup days, or you had those other 2 days to get ahead for the following week. So that was really excellent. And that's something that many of us have done, but we need to be reminded and pick that up again and be consistent with it. So that was really excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so simple. And I think everybody says, write your goals down. And we've probably been through something else, some other kind of training where people break it down, but actually breaking it down makes it feel like a smaller task, and and it makes you realize just the consistency of it. Because for the most part, I know I can pick up the phone and probably get somebody enrolled every single day. Do I pick up the phone every single day and enroll someone? No. But it's a good reminder that if I'm consistent with it, that's how you hit some of these big numbers, is just being consistent.
Absolutely.
Josh,
Yes.
one of the things you talked about was, the birthday cards and reaching out to your clients, postcards.
Mhm.
So, Joe and I and myself and Eddie, a couple of us, we have this tool that's a digital tool that will allow us to do that electronically by email. So one of the days we will have to do a training fields of how to take advantage of this tool and how you can use it to your advantage for recruiting and getting leads and reaching out to your prospects.
Is that the LFI, or is that another
that's
tool?
the LFI tool.
LFI.
That's the LFI tool.
Cool.
So I know
one of the things I asked Joshua Young's what he's using for a CRM, because he's got this pretty much down, like as far as everything is automated. Like when somebody comes in, if they're sold and what product they're sold, they get a certain tag in his system, and then they're automatically on the list for this carrier and whatever they're sending them, mail and email this way. Or if they didn't get sold and he has a lot of different tags, and once they're in his system, it's automated. A lot of that back end, at least with the email side of things, is automated on that side. He's using.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
I want to interrupt you there. We have all that, by the way. Actually, ours is better than what he has, and that's something John Gordine can connect with you about. We already have all those tools in place.
So we have that with like the auto emails and the automation.
Yeah,
on Zoho.
John can share that with you. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, Zoho does a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know. John has pretty much taught the basics and our little video trainings on the basics, but we have an advanced version to that we can ask John Gordine to bring you up to speed on.
Cool, because I was getting ready to buy Joshua Young's CRM, so we already have it. That's even better.
Yep, we already got all that.
But Tony, I would like to share this tool because I shared it with John. There were some features that this tool had that John was amazed with. So we should set up one day to do a training. Joe Gray, if he has his one of his recruiting tools for the insurance agent, if you want to share, it's an amazing tool. I think this is going to allow us to, this is how we basically came back in Chicago utilizing this, besides the grassroots market, we've taken advantage of this tool.
Right. So why don't we, is John Gordine on the call, if he could just chime in on that real quick. But what things good about our Zoho system, it is flexible. We can, one thing about technology is always evolving. So John has done a master job at putting this together. We have things in our system that even Integrity doesn't have, and many other IMOs don't have. So make sure you guys connect with John. Maybe we can do another refresh session on the opportunity we already have with the Zoho system that's been created for you guys, because it does all.
One thing I'll point out though is as far as the basics for Zoho, our YouTube channel has videos on most of that, like entering sales, tracking stuff, the basic everyday things. There are plenty of videos on our YouTube channel that can explain that.
One last thing I wanted to touch on, because I just had it written down here, but I didn't bring it up, is the virtual assistant side of things. So if you guys don't have a personal assistant and you wanted to just get a virtual assistant, so I'm looking at getting an actual live in-person personal assistant right now, because I think some of the stuff would probably be better in person, but you can get a virtual assistant for a lot less expensive than you think. So my virtual assistant, she lives in the Philippines. The average wage for where she lives at is about $2 per hour. I pay her $4 per hour, and that's because she's specialized in Medicare. So she's been doing Medicare longer than I've been doing Medicare. So she knows her stuff. If somebody asks her a basic Medicare question, she can answer that. I pay her well because she gets $4 an hour, plus she gets a lot of bonuses based on my production that she sends me. But you guys can all get you can get an okay personal assistant for $2 an hour. I don't probably just pay the $4 an hour and get somebody a little bit more specialized, but I'll write it in the chat. There's a website, it's called onlinejobs.ph, and it's all people overseas that you can hire as a virtual assistant. There's people who do all types of things. If you're putting a job posting on there, I would recommend that you ask for specialization, whether it's medical background or Medicare background or something, because the first time I put a job posting on there, I got 200 plus job postings, and most of them weren't the people I was looking for the second time around. And I hired someone off there, and she was awful. The second time I was more specialized, as I want someone who has done Medicare coverage before and they're out there. And I got a few that did Medicare, and that's why I picked one of those. But yeah, I think that's important, is for $160 a week, you can get a Medicare specialized assistant. And that's, Joshua Young says you're going to double your production with a personal assistant. If you feel like you're not at the spot where you can hire someone in an office full time, you can hire a virtual assistant. I think pretty much anyone can afford to pay and a personal assistant, something like that. And yeah, they are exclusive to me. And I'm going to type it's onlinejobs.ph. But I just want to touch on that too, because an assistant seems like such a crazy thing, or out there thing for somebody who's a little bit smaller. But she's been working for me for 2 years now, so it's a lot more attainable when you look at what the Philippines, what you can get over in the Philippines.
This is Marlon. This is probably more of a question for Mike, but I signed up for the Joshua Young training last week, and I couldn't attend, and was told that he's going to be posting a recording of it. Do you know if that's happened yet?
Yeah, again,
I haven't gotten the recording yet.
No, neither have I. I think
they
sent a message.
They're working on editing it right now.
Yeah.
I would contact if you type in on Google Medicare Peace of Mind, I would call his office and talk to Diana or one of the other girls in there, and they could probably get that.
Hey, Josh, can I ask you a question on your assistant?
Mm-hmm.
How many hours roughly do you hire them? And then my next question is, do you just have them just calling your customers, or do you have them doing anything like sending out cards for you, or things like that? And how does that work, as far as expense of them paying for those types of things? So I was just curious how that worked.
Yeah, so she's virtual, so I don't really have her do like a whole lot of the mail stuff, which is one of the reasons why I want a physical assistant in an office is I do a ton of mail, and I'm up at like 11, 12, 1 a.m. doing mail, and I can't be doing that and then working during the day anymore. But she works, so she's virtual, so she works over the phone. She works 40 hours a week. Most of the time she's either calling prospects for me, or she's calling my current members and she's doing follow-up calls. Or the good thing about her is I can tell her that, hey, I need you to call this person today, and this is what you need to tell them. Or so we kind of like text, and like some of the people I can't get to, she calls and she gets to. But did that answer everything, or did you maybe?
Yeah, no, that does. But Tom, could you give me maybe a couple different examples of some of the things that you would have her talk to your current customers about?
Sure. So like sometimes so me and Tony were in Colorado, and I looked at my phone at the end of the day, and I had like 20 something missed calls, all from members. Well, a lot of them left messages. So at night I can go through their messages and tell them, see, you need to call this person, tell them this person, tell them that. And so that's what I kind of stretched me a little bit being in Colorado, not being able to answer my phone, as I was able to go back at night, figure out, what needed to be taken care of with a lot of these customers, that she could literally give them a phone call and tell them this is what's going on, or answer a question or something. And so that's kind of what I outlined for her when we were out there Tuesday, she was calling back a lot of those people from Monday. So I have her do some like more, if I need spreadsheets made up of certain things, or I have her do some more, I've had her do some more organizational stuff recently. But the cool thing is anything, if you had an assistant that was going to work from home and not in an office for you, think about everything that an assistant could do if you had an assistant and they were working from home, because that's what it is they're working from home, but they're overseas and the exchange rate is different and cost of living is different. So it makes it affordable for really anyone to get one now.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. I guess I was just curious, like, where is it, like, do you ever have where she would call in with the customer to membership and stuff, and is that allowed, or you don't have her do those types of
I don't
things?
have her do that right now. It's a future goal of mine.
Because I thought, would she be allowed to do that? Because is she a licensed agent? Is she allowed to do that?
And she wouldn't be agent of record on there. So that would be, it's something I have to look into a little bit. I know Joshua Young is able to do that with assistants here in the US. So there has to be some kind of way around that with not being agent of record, or, how that all works. But that's kind of a goal of mine, is to move her into more of a member service, or I'm looking at hiring a second virtual assistant. So possibly having one for member service issues and that such, and the other one for, for more of a sales or, client retention type of basis. But she does more like sales and client retention than she does.
Right. And and I apologize because, you're answering a lot of great questions here for me. So like in regard to, her helping you, does she, in other words, is it working where she's preventing you having to call? Because what about this? You're selling you, right? But yet now you have this other person calling. Is that been an issue, for your clients that, this other person's calling them versus you? How are you staying in front of them as well that, hey, I'm your agent. This is just my assistant?
Not really, because when she calls them, she lets them know that she's my assistant. She works for me. But also I try to let all my clients know that they may be hearing from Monica. She's my assistant. So you may be hearing some from her, and I make sure I say Monica, drill that in their head a little bit so they remember Monica. And then I try to, on some of my mail that I send to the members, like letters or things like that, I try to include Monica's name in there just so they know that, they may be hearing from this lady Monica, and that Monica is associated with me, if that makes sense.
Right, but then how do you still stay in touch with them personally?
So I'm still staying in touch as well. Like, it's not always Monica. Monica isn't making all the touches. It's still me making touches as well. But I would say that Monica, I try to always mention that Monica's going to be there. So that way it's not some out of the blue surprise that, that some lady named Monica is giving them a call.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh, are you doing most of your contact with the person in the Philippines via phone or email?
So me and her, we use like WhatsApp. So that's how we primarily communicate, is if I call her or I text her, it's over WhatsApp. So it's similar, but I guess it's like an international type of like phone you can use with them. And then for everything she's doing, I have 2 different phone systems for her. So I have just like a general Skype with like a local number that she can call out from. And then I have a dialer for her, which is through Prospect Boss, and she uses that when we're going through leads or different things. She'll use Prospect Boss as her phone system for that.
Hey, Joshua.
Yes.
This is Jessica Turner. You made a statement that you pay your assistant bonuses based on the production your assistant sends you. What do you mean by that? And thank you for doing this for us.
Sure.
Awesome
Yeah,
job.
sure. So when she sends me, and I had to play around with this a little bit, but when she sends me either a transfer and that becomes an appointment, or a sale, or she sets me an appointment and that becomes a sale, she basically just gets a flat $30 bonus for each sale that she ends up sending me. I did play around with this a little bit, like through AEP, where in AEP originally I was doing like $10 bonus per sale. And then if she hit 5 in the week for me, then all of her sales would be worth 20 at that point. And then when she hit 10, they're all worth 30. One of the things I realized though was there was a couple weeks where I was really crunching and I needed more numbers in. I just said, look, everything's the $30 bonus. All of a sudden it was like she woke up and started sending me a bunch of stuff. So then I just said, okay, well now everything's $30, and that's worked out better for me to just give her the full 30 right off the bat than have to have her hit certain levels. But probably play around with it, see what motivates them and that type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
This is great stuff, guys. Any other questions or comments? Because we went way past the time allotted, but this is good stuff. Anybody else?
Josh, look, we're not worried about the time. Josh, keep going. We're loving it.
Well, what else does anybody have, I guess?
How do you pay these folks? I mean,
there's a website's called Zoom, and it's basically PayPal owns it. It's just you send money to the Philippines that way. So I'm still trying to figure out the tax write-off on that, because so I'm basically just sending her money through like I guess it's like similar to like a Western Union or something like that. I don't write it off, but I got to talk to somebody about if I can write it off and how I write that off.
She's contract. It's 1099, Josh.
Can I 1099 overseas? Do you know?
As far as that's concerned, you're buying a service, so you can 1099 it. I think she's still got to fill out the same U.S. tax forms we do.
Okay, interesting.
But you've got to record it, and the issue is you've got to get your 1099s out by a certain time every year. So
we got a few days now.
Yeah, and this is critical for a lot of people because the government is starting to watch what our checking accounts do, what our banking accounts do. So if you've got ongoing, outgoing payments, they're going to show up in the bank account, and we're supposed to have tax IDs for who we pay. So keep that in mind, guys. Last thing you want to do is have something working right and then turn around and get smacked for having it working right by Uncle Sam. Looks like you got to put that on your list of things to get done.
Please, I figured just since we're on that topic, we are not, at least as far as I know, we are not, this is suggestion. We're not licensed in that regard. I feel like I have to say that on a recorded call.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meet with your accountant and lawyers, please. That solves it, okay? In the meantime, guys, we have everything. We don't discount what we already have. Josh Young's doing a great job. So is Josh Shinn. A lot of these things that we're discussing, we've already discussed and already are available. Maximize the opportunity we have. And I think Josh has done a great job. So Josh Shinn, final words of wisdom, my friend. You did a great job. We're very, very impressed. How old are you now, Josh?
26.
26. Impressive.
My final words of wisdom are consistency. So that's one of the things I realized was you can set an appointment, sell an application today, or you can't. And if you just do it every day, then it's going to turn into the number that you want to hit. So breaking back down your goals and just being consistent on whatever that goal is really really a key, because there's days that I don't feel like selling, but if you look at your goal and you need to do 0.83 per day, then you need to do it. Or the more days that you let add up that you're not taking action and doing things, then the more that you're going to be going in a negative direction rather than towards your goal. So that's my final words of wisdom.
Good job, Josh. Appreciate you, big guy. Keep up the great work. Appreciate everything you've done thus far, and the sky is the limit. Keep it up.